गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः चिन्मयं व्याप्यत् सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव वेद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव जय गुरु ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Do we have Aditi online?
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So where are we in our text?
We're on chapter 41. Develop the witness attitude. Develop the witness attitude, and you will find your own experience that detachment brings control. The state of witnessing is full of power. There is nothing passive about it.
May I stop you? Didn't we do this last week?
I think we're on 42.
I think we're on 42. Mark, do you know where we are?
I have us at 42.
42? Is Mark Herman online? Did we
Yeah,
lose
we're on
Mark Herman?
42. Sorry, I was muted. We're on 42.
42.
I was not here last week.
That's right.
42. Reality cannot be expressed. Neither action, nor feeling, nor thought express reality. There is no such thing as an expression of reality. You are introducing a duality where there is none. Only reality is. There is nothing else. Questioner. I have noticed a new self emerging in me, independent of the old self. They somehow coexist. The old self goes on its habitual ways. The new lets the old be, but does not identify itself with it. Maharaj, what is the main difference between the old self and the new? Questioner, the old self wants everything defined and explained. It wants things to fit each other verbally. The new does not care for verbal explanations. It accepts things as they are and does not seek to relate them to things remembered. Maharaj, are you fully and constantly aware of the difference between the habitual and the spiritual? What is the attitude of the new self to the old? Questioner, the new just looks at the old. It is neither friendly nor inimical. It just accepts the old self along with everything else. It does not deny its being, but does not accept its value and validity. Maharaj, the new is the total denial of the old. The permissive new is not really new. It is but a new attitude of the old. The really new obliterates the old completely. The two cannot be together. Is there a process of self-denudation, a constant refusal to accept the old ideas and values? Or is there just a mutual tolerance? What is their relation? Questioner: there is no particular relation. They coexist. Maharaj: when you talk of the old self and the new, who do you have in mind? As there is continuity in memory between the two, each remembering the other, how can you speak of two selves? Questioner: one is a slave to habits, the other is not. One conceptualizes, the other is free from all ideas. Maharaj: why two selves? Between the bound and the free, there can be no relationship. The very fact of coexistence proves their basic unity. There is but one self. It is always now. What you call the other self, old or new, is but a modality, another aspect of the one self. The self is single. You are that self, and you have ideas of what you have been or will be.
Okay,
But an idea,
let's stop there just a moment. So many people get caught up in thinking that I, the individual, I, Jim, am going to realize the self. I am going to merge with Brahman. I, Jim, am going to change, become, go someplace, etc. The truth that Maharaj is saying, this is incredibly important. You only have one self. Who sees the phone?
I do.
That's yourself. There's not another self. But, and this is a big but, on top of that direct experience, in my mind, I superimpose all sorts of ideas. Now, many scriptures will, my favorite, Mandukya, looks at the dream state. Are you in the dream or is the dream in you? What's the answer?
The dream is in you.
Exactly. You're not in a dream. It feels like I'm in a dream. If Rob gets up in the middle of the night to pee and he comes back to bed, are you gone from the bed because you're in the dream? Are you?
No.
No. The dreamer and her dream world is all imagination. That's all it is. Vedanta thunders. This is no different. Now, this jiva bhavana, which is the term I like to use, bhavana means an attitude or a feeling. It's not an entity. I don't have a jivatman and somehow that's separate from the paramatman, supreme self. You don't have two selves. So what we need to do, stay with this very simple practice. If you can see it, it isn't you. Do you see the bowl on the coffee table? Yes, no?
Yes.
Are you a bowl? No. You're the one who's looking at the bowl. Can you hear the construction sounds outside?
Yes.
You're not a construction machine. You're the one who knows the sound. Now take a deep breath. Do you not know the breath in the body the same way you knew the bowl or the sound?
Mhm.
If you have a sensation, an itch or a pain or something, he just scratches his nose. Do you not know that the same way you know the bowl or the sound? Do you see that?
Mhm. Yeah.
You are not your body. Whatever feelings you have, you are not your feelings. You are not your thoughts. Now, in the subtlest part of the intellect, some scriptures call the Vijnana Maya Kosha, the intellectual sheath. There is a function called karta, the agent, sometimes called the doer and the enjoyer. It too is an object of awareness. So, Natasha, we were talking before class about the challenges you may be facing with this potential roommate. And you're having feelings, right?
Mhm.
Don't you know the feelings?
Mhm.
Are you upset or are you watching the upset mind?
Mhm.
Do you see the difference?
Mhm.
The self in you is not upset. There's a subject-object relationship.
Mhm.
Do you see that?
Yeah,
What?
there were moments where I was able to pull out, many times, this has been going on for some days, where I could get present. And then I would go back into the fear and then, but then there was a point at which I realized that there's a part of me that actually feels like I have to be in fear mode as that is the appropriate response. I actually had that awareness that there's a part of me that feels like, yeah, it's great when I'm out.
No, it's not a part of you. It's a part of your mind.
Yeah, it's a part of my mind that feels like part of the appropriateness of my response is having the fear.
But let's not deal with the nature of the content. For example, if I move the bowl to the edge of the chair, it's still not you.
Mhm.
So let's for a moment not deal with the content
Mhm.
of your mind, but your fundamental relationship with the mind. Now, if the bowl falls on the floor, are you damaged or hurt?
No,
Why not?
I'm not full.
Yeah. But if you think you're a bowl, because you'd be crazy, girl, then you're going to have fear. No, 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 don't let the bowl fall. I'll die.
Mhm.
That's our problem.
Mhm.
We attribute to the self the qualities of the not self.
And then as a spiritual person trying to, like as someone on a spiritual path, trying to, then for me, there's an added layer of expectation that adds to the suffering because I have this expectation that I'll handle the situation at a certain level. And then
Yeah.
when I'm failing to do so, then then I'm
then I
very much unhappy.
would recommend that you renounce the phony identification that you're a spiritual person.
Mhm.
A
Well,
spiritual person doesn't exist.
if I remove the identification with a spiritual person, like I have expectations of how I.
Who
want to
has the
handle this.
expectations? Is it you or the mind? Get out of the mind.
Mhm.
Get out of the mind. If it has a beginning and an end, if it occurs in time and space, if it has qualities or characteristics, if it's confined to the world of time and space. Anatman, not self. Stand back. Take on Sakshi Bhav, the attitude of the witness. Now, in the beginning, that too is a mind state, but it's a mind state that will get you out of the other ones. The truth is, you are always the untouched, uninvolved witness. Ego, at first, your ego is an object of perception. Sometimes you're out in nature, or you're listening to music, or whatever, and you are not self-obsessed. Other times, what's going to happen to me? Which is always rooted in identification, 99% of the time, with the body. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
You step back, take on the viewpoint of the witness. Ego says resolve the struggle of ego. What do I need to do to be safe, to be okay, to get what I want, to not be triggered? Yoga says drop the struggler. Let it go. You're already safe. Easy to say, not so easy to do. But the whole point is your self is already okay. For ego to try to secure itself, it's like if you have a nightmare that you're locked in a jail. And to the mind of the dreamer, you've got to get out of that jail. But where does the problem go when you wake up? Oh, God, that was a weird dream. Whew. Because the dreamer ego is Jiva Bhavana. It's just an attitude or a feeling that I'm a person. So to constantly practice this is jnana abhyasa, the practice of knowledge. You don't have just one experience and, practice it until the mind quits throwing up this phony self, this fake self. But as long as I think I'm a person, I'm caught in a dream. Caught in the dream. Going on, let's see what Maharaj says.
You are that self, and you have ideas of what you have been or will be. But an idea is not the self. Right now, as you are sitting in front of me, which self are you, the old or the new? Questioner. The two are in conflict. Maharaj. How can there be conflict between what is and what is not? Conflict is the characteristic of the old. When the new emerges, the old is no longer. You cannot speak of the new and the conflict in the same breath. Even the effort of striving for the new self is of the old. Wherever there is conflict, effort, struggle, striving, longing for a change, the new is not. To what extent are you free from the habitual tendency to create and perpetuate conflicts?
Now, let me stop there. What many of us are unwilling to admit, these triggers, these issues are nothing more than habit. Now, psychotherapy can be very valuable because it helps us make what's unconscious conscious. But one of the traps of psychotherapy is we think if we go causation hunting, that's going to solve the problem. So you may know you have a trigger because of some childhood trauma, but that doesn't make the trigger go away. The trigger is just a habit. You may get in touch with the original trauma, blow the charge on it, but at some point, we have to do the tapas. When the mind starts to go in that direction, no, turn it into another direction. Those of us who've studied Patanjali's sutras, Yoga Sutras, have you read any of those, Natasha?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
So one of my favorites is the first sutra in the second chapter. Tapas swadhyayeshvara pranidhana kriya yoga. Tapas, usually translated as austerity. Swadhyaya, which means self-study. In the Vedanta tradition, that means going back and reviewing the scriptures that you've heard from the teacher and their explanation. In the Raja Yoga tradition, it means a psychological inventory, becoming aware of what my kleshas, my defilements, my issues are. Ishvara pranidhana is trustful surrender to God. This is called Kriya Yoga. What's the difference between Kriya and Karma? They both come from the same root, Kri, to make or to do. Karma is an already completed action. Kriya is an action taking place. So austerity, self-knowledge, trustful surrender to God is called yoga in action. How do we do it? We actually take it from the inside out. Go to your therapist, write in your journal, meditate, let the unconscious unload. Know your character assets, know your character challenges. Now, let's go back to the roommate situation. I hope you don't mind us using you as the guinea pig, because we've all got these things.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me this is the first time you've had this feeling.
No.
Guess where the cause of it is? It's in our own minds.
Mm-hmm.
So, aha, there's my issue. I have fear. I get triggered. Similar situations. An old friend.
Mm-hmm.
Ego says, play whack-a-mole with the world. So yoga says, first thing we do the inventory. Okay, this is my issue. It's my klesha. Then, once I get the understanding, I do the tapas. Now, the meaning of tapas literally is heat, because when we endeavor to move the mind into a different line of thought, the mind resists. It's like when you run too much electricity through a filament, it heats up. So it's not easy. The mind is ruled by the law of inertia. The law of inertia is a body in motion or at rest in a vacuum will stay in that condition until energy is applied to change it. Asteroid just keeps moving through space until energy is applied. So the mind will continue to run down these various habituated channels of thought until we do tapas. I see that that's just an old habit. Let it go. Turn the mind to the Lord, Om Namah Shivaya. Turn the mind to Seva. This is Jim. I'm triggered. I'm getting out of myself. Tell me what's going on with you. Is that something online going beep beep? Maybe it's my phone. Oh well.
I hear it too, but
Anyway, so you do, and this is hard. This is why we have to have God's help, Ama's help. That's the Ishvara Pranidhana. And Patanjali says this is the essence of yoga in action. Tapas, Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhana, Kriya Yoga. A fabulous sutra. It has so much of the process. But all these ideas of self and these ideas of the world are imagination and habit. Now, some of them are lifetimes old, but that doesn't change their nature. Which is more real, a long dream or a short dream? I like to use the example in Europe. For hundreds and hundreds of years, everybody, almost everybody, thought the world was flat. And you couldn't sail west because you were going to fall off the edge of the world. Did that make it so?
Yeah.
So thinking something for a long time and getting agreement from other people. Everybody else tells you this person's a bitch. That must make it true. No, doesn't make it true. They're just another one of the Lord's creations. It's a spiritual axiom that if I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I'm the one with the klesha. We have no hope of ever getting through it until I own my reactivity. And what will happen is our karma, the Lord, doesn't matter how you frame it, the situation will continue to return to us until I let go and keep my heart open. Until I quit personalizing it. Any thoughts on this process? This is nitty-gritty stuff. All right, going on, please. Maharaj talking about habit.
Maharaj, to what extent are you free from the habitual tendency to create and perpetuate conflicts? Questioner, I cannot say that I am now a different man, but I did discover new things about myself, states so unlike what I knew before that I feel justified in calling them new. Maharaj, the old self is your own self. The state which sprouts suddenly and without cause carries no stain of self. You may call it God. What is seedless and rootless, what does not sprout and grow, flower and fruit, what comes into being suddenly and in full glory, mysteriously and marvelously, you may call that God. It is entirely unexpected, yet inevitable, infinitely familiar, yet most surprising, beyond all hope, yet absolutely certain. Because it is without cause, it is without hindrance. It obeys one law only, the law of freedom. Anything that implies a continuity, a sequence, a passing from stage to stage cannot be real. There is no progress in reality. It is final, perfect, unrelated. Questioner, how can I bring it about? Maharaj, you can do nothing to bring it about, but you can avoid creating obstacles. Watch your mind, how it comes into being, how it operates. As you watch your mind, you discover yourself as the watcher. When you stand motionless, only watching, you discover yourself as the light behind the watcher. The source of light is dark. The unknown is the source of knowledge.
Let's stop there. You will never see yourself. You will never know yourself as an object. It is like trying to see your own eyes. It is like trying to taste your tongue. It is like trying to shine a flashlight on its own batteries. Yourself is not an objective experience. Aha, I had an experience of the self. No. Yourself is an eternal, constant reality. How do you know you are you? You do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you are not unknown. Are you you? How do I know it? I don't know, I just do. And the great cosmic Job is the most miserable of creatures, does not doubt their existence. The only people who doubt their existence are the Shunyavadins. It's a particular school of Buddhism that posit that ultimate reality is completely non-existent and empty. So you ask them, do you exist? No, I don't exist. Do you know that? Yes, I've experienced it. And then the Vedantin says, and to whom did that occur? If it was experienced, something, someone must have been there to know it. If I were to say to Howard, Howard, 10 minutes ago, you ceased to exist for 5 minutes. Did you experience it?
No.
No, that's because you weren't there. We saw you disappear. You see what I'm getting at?
Mm.
So what the Buddha was saying with his doctrine of anatma, no self, he's talking about the unreality of what in yoga we call ahankara, the ego sense. But the real self is an eternal factor. I don't care how unhappy you are. Do you exist? Yes, I exist. Are you unhappy? Very unhappy. Do you know your unhappiness? Oh, let me tell you all about it. But you do not doubt. I am, I know. It's just in the mind. I superimpose all sorts of ideas on that direct experience. So what Maharaj is getting at is throughout the day, I love the practice that Ramana Maharshi gives us. Koham, who am I? When the trigger arises, to whom did this trigger occur? To me. Koham, who am I? Oh, I'm always the knower of the mind state. I am not triggered. I'm the unattached, untouched witness of a triggered mind. And as he's been saying, when we start to take on this Sakshi Bhav, this attitude of the witness, then things start to shift. So what is moksha? What is our liberation? It's when the mind itself sees its own fundamental unreality. And it quits believing mental projection. Then it settles down and becomes a peaceful mind. Going on.
There is no progress in reality. It is final, perfect, unrelated. Questioner, how can I bring it about? Maharaj, you can do nothing to bring it about, but you can avoid creating obstacles. Watch your mind, how it comes into being, how it operates. As you watch your mind, you discover yourself as the watcher. When you stand motionless, only watching, you discover yourself as the light behind the watcher. The source of light is dark. The unknown is the source of knowledge. That source alone is. Go back to that source and abide there. It is not in the sky or in the all-pervading ether. God is all that is great and wonderful. I am nothing, have nothing, can do nothing. Yet all comes out of me. The source is me. The root, the origin, is me. When reality explodes in you, you may call it experience of God, or rather, it is God experiencing you. God knows you when you know yourself. Reality is not the result of a process. It is an explosion. It is definitely beyond the mind, but all you can do is to know your mind well. Not that the mind will help you, but by knowing your mind, you may avoid your mind disabling you. You have to be very alert, or else your mind will play false with you. It is like watching a thief. Not that you expect anything from a thief, but you do not want to be robbed. In the same way, you give a lot of attention to the mind without expecting anything from it. Or, take another example. We wake and we sleep. After a day's work, sleep comes. Now, do I go to sleep, or does inadvertence, characteristic of the sleeping state, come to me? In other words, we are awake because we are asleep. We do not wake up into a really waking state. In the waking state, the world emerges due to ignorance and takes one into a waking dream state. Both sleep and waking are misnomers. We are only dreaming. True waking and true sleeping only the Jnani knows.
Okay, let's stop there. So when we study Mandukya, we go through an exegesis of Om, A, U, Ma, and silence. A stands for the waking state, U for the dream state, Ma for the deep sleep state. The silence is the Turiya, the fourth, which is not a fourth mind state. It is the awareness in which the three mind states rise and fall. It's traditionally studied, Mandukya, with what we call the Gaudapada Karika. Gaudapada was Shankara's grandfather guru. Karika is shorter than a bhasha. A bhasha is a commentary. Karika is a gloss. It's like margin notes. And in the second chapter of Gaudapada's gloss, he says, well, actually, we don't have three mind states, waking, dream, and deep sleep. We only really have two. Sleep and dream. There's the nighttime dream and the daytime dream. The Turiya is never touched. So the invitation is, the practice is, quit taking the world so seriously. Give up the notion that getting what I want is an imperative to being okay, to being happy. Any thoughts on this?
One, can you repeat, he said there's only two states and that was a dream and the sleep?
Yeah. Sleep is pure ignorance. The self is not asleep, but the mind is folded up into complete darkness. It's like this. Close your eyes. Are you blind or are you seeing the back of your eyelids? Open your eyes. When you close your eyes, your capacity to see the objects in the room is obscured, occluded. Do you understand?
Mhm.
But you're not blind. If you were blind, you could open and close your eyes, so your heart's content, nothing happens. So deep sleep, awareness is illuminating the mind folded up into its seed-like form. It's not gone, because when you wake up in the morning, you've got an apparent continuity from the day before. It just merges into its seed form. And then when those seeds sprout, they sprout as the dream, or they sprout as the waking state. But you are Kutastha. Kuta has two meanings. It can mean a mountain or it can mean an anvil. Statishthati means to be still, stand, stable, not moving. So Kutastha means you are absolutely immovable. Phenomena goes on around you. None of it touches you. Don't believe me. Keep practicing this discrimination. Check out yourself. I'm not the body, I'm not the feelings, I'm not the thoughts. Who am I? I'm just that witnessing awareness. Chidakash, the space of pure awareness. And it never changes. If there's space in the cup, space outside the cup, we call it cup space. But if I move the cup, is space moving? No. And if I break the cup, what happens to the space? Oh, it fell all over the floor. No. What happened to the space? Nothing. What are you doing, Jim? I'm protecting the space. That's what we do when I want to be safe. I want to be secure. I want to be okay. I want to win. We're protecting something that's already safe. Don't believe me. Don't believe the scriptures. Don't believe Maharaj. Go there. Look. Prove to yourself. But the challenge is to be able to see the difference between the reactive mind and the self. Years ago, one of Howard's friends, Garth, took the basic course. Do you remember that?
Yes.
This guy, good looking fellow, gay man, but, kind of a leather guy. What would you call him, But as many men are, had this sense of identification with who and what he was in his body. This is back when I lived on Turk Street. And my roommate at the time did drag. Were you there that night?
I don't recall.
So Garth was there
Probably was there.
and we put a wig on him. Can't remember if we put lipstick on him or not. But he turns. Just, he was such a good sport. But the point is, I said, how does it make you feel? And he says, really uncomfortable, really self-conscious. And what I wanted to demonstrate is that's ego thickening. We took it all away. Now, how do you feel? Oh, much better. That's it thinning out. If you can see it thicken and thin, how can it be you? How can it be you? It's only the mind doing that because of its identification. So when we were talking about when I think I'm a spiritual person, and then I don't respond like I think a spiritual person is supposed to, it's essentially the same issue. So what Maharaj is getting at is step back, get out of the mind. Take on Sakshi Bhav as a practice. Always. Truth is, you can't become the witness. You just begin to notice you're always the witness. All right, going on. This is good stuff this morning.
Um, Ah, um, let's see. True waking and true sleeping, only the Gyani knows. We dream that we are awake. We dream that we are asleep. The three states are only varieties of the dream state. Treating everything as a dream liberates. As
Yeah.
long as you give reality to dreams, you are their slave.
Yes, so what he means here when he says the three states, he too is referencing Mandukya, waking, dream, and deep sleep. They are all just mind states. You are beyond the mind. You are not a dream. You are not an imagined thing. You are real with a big old capital R. Going on.
As long as you give reality to dreams, you are their slave. By imagining that you are born as so and so, you become a slave to the so and so. The essence of slavery is to imagine yourself to be a process, to have past and future, to have history. In fact, we have no history. We are not a process. We do not develop or decay. See all as a dream and stay out of it. Questioner: what benefit do I derive from listening to you? Maharaj: I am calling you back to yourself. All I ask you to do is to look at yourself, towards yourself, into yourself. Questioner: to what purpose? Maharaj: you live, you feel, you think. By giving attention to your living, feeling, and thinking, you free yourself from them and go beyond them. Your personality dissolves and only the witness remains. Then you go beyond the witness. Do not ask how it happens, just search within yourself. Questioner: what makes the difference between the person and the witness? Maharaj: both are modes of consciousness. In one, you desire and fear. In the other, you are unaffected by pleasure and pain and are not ruffled by events. You let them come and go. Questioner: how does one get established in the higher state, the state of pure witnessing? Maharaj: consciousness does not shine by itself. It shines by a light beyond it. Having seen the dreamlike quality of consciousness, look for the light in which it appears, which gives it being. There is the content of consciousness as well as the awareness of it. Questioner: I know, and I know that I know. Maharaj: quite so, provided the second knowledge is unconditional and timeless. Forget the known, but remember that you are the knower. Don't be all the time immersed in your experiences. Remember that you are beyond the experiencer, ever unborn and deathless. In remembering it, the quality of pure knowledge will emerge, the light of unconditional awareness. Questioner: at what point does one experience reality? Maharaj: experience is of change. It comes and goes. Reality is not an event. It cannot be experienced. It is not perceivable in the same way as an event is perceivable. If you wait for an event to take place, for the coming of reality, you will wait forever, for reality neither comes nor goes. It is to be perceived, not expected. It is not to be prepared for and anticipated. But the very longing and search for reality is the movement, operation, and action of reality.
Let's stop there just a moment. Way back in the 1970s, they had these things which they called samadhi tanks. They were sensory deprivation tanks. It's like a pod. And you'd get inside and you'd be floating in salt water, and it was 98.6, and it was completely dark and completely quiet. And after a while, in that sensory deprivation, you could hear your own heartbeat, even feel it. Now, the question is, in that sensory deprivation tank, did the heart begin to beat at that point? Did it?
No.
But right now, are you aware of your heartbeat? Not too much. Maybe if I feel my pulse, I can get it. The point is, what keeps me from noticing the constant beating of my heart? Sensory perception. Deprive the senses, and the heartbeat becomes evident. You don't attain, achieve, or anything. You just notice what's always there. But it's hard to notice when there's a lot of obscuring sensory data. So also with yourself. Yourself is nitya, eternal. Nityananda, in fact, eternal bliss. It's always there. But it's difficult for the mind to notice it when it's all caught up with its extroversions. So yoga does not allow us to achieve the self, attain the self, become the self, merge into the self. It's all about removing our attention from what obscures that which is eternal. Listen very carefully. The self is difficult to realize, not because it's far away, not because you need to be in some wackadoodle mind state. Listen very carefully. It's difficult to realize because of its profound ordinariness. I miss it because it's always there. And I keep looking for things that change. It's not here now. I want something that'll be there then. But in fact, what I have to do is notice what is the eternal factor. If it's the eternal factor, that means it's there right now. When are you ever not you? Investigate it. You will come to see that in fact, you are a changeless, inviolate reality. Question?
Yeah, so this might be a really ridiculous question, but, the light, just like a few paragraphs before, he's talking about it shines like a light beyond, consciousness does not shine by itself, it shines by light beyond it having. And then there's a lot of light references here and then also elsewhere. And I know people who say they always have this sense of actual light in them, but I don't.
It's a metaphor. A light is that by which things are illumined. For example, at night, if I turn on the lamp, it is by the light of the lamp that we can see the objects. but I don't need to have a second light, a flashlight, in order to see the light bulb. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it's the light of awareness. It's not that you're going to see a light. That's another subject-object relationship. But you light the presence of everything. Can you see the bowl?
Mhm.
The light of awareness functioning through your mind, enlivening the sense of sight, allows the bowl to become evident. Now listen to the traffic. That same awareness lights up the sense of hearing, so you can hear the construction outside. What is it that is that light by which everything is illumined? Does that make it a little clearer?
And that is the self, or that.
You find out.
Mm.
It's not figure outable. Find out what is. If we get caught up in oscillating, is it this, is it that, is it this, is it that? What we're dealing with is like trying to explain an orgasm to an 8-year-old. She can go take a sex education class in school. Well, is it like this? Is it like that? Is it like this? Is it like that? And all of a sudden, when she's 12 or 13 and her body starts to change, she may be in the bathtub. Whether she's had the class or not, the sex education class, she discovers something. And it's absolutely self-validating. Another classic metaphor. I don't know if people do it anymore, but do you ever read a real like newspaper?
Mm,
Occasionally,
neighborhood,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, well, in the old timey days, in the Sunday paper, you had the funny papers. You know, Little Abner, Peanuts, all that sort of stuff. But always at the end of the funny papers were puzzles, crosswords, things like that. Frequently, there would be an optical illusion puzzle. Can you find 10 bunnies in the picture? You ever seen one of those kinds of things?
Mhm.
So you look and the bunnies are already there. I just have to look to find them because they're subtle and they're apparently hidden. Oh, there's one, you know. Oh, there's one there, you know. I got 8 of them. There's 2 more someplace, you know. But you aren't creating the bunnies. The bunnies are already there. Yourself is already there. It's nothing new. Now, this deep insight into what myself is changes everything. It's kind of like a person who's living on the street and they're in poverty, living under a bush, and they have no money, and they do not know that an uncle died and left them $1 million. The fact of the matter is they're a wealthy person, but they do not know it. Finally, the executor is able to track them down. Are you Joe Blow? Uh-huh. Well, your Uncle Fred left you $1 million. Really? Yeah, this was 10 years ago. We've been looking for you for 10 years. You mean I lived under a bush for 10 years and I didn't have to? Yep. In fact, it's now 10,400,000 because there's interest. So also, who I am is the source of all happiness, the source of all peace, source of the world itself. I don't get a new self. I just wake up, rediscover, become aware. What always. All right. How many more in this chapter do we have?
About a page, page and a half.
Let's see if we can finish it. We've got about 5 minutes.
All you can do is grasp the central point that reality is not an event and does not happen, and that whatever happens, whatever comes and goes, is not reality. See events as events only, the transient as transient, experience as mere experience, and you have done all you can. Then you are vulnerable to reality, no longer armored against it as you were when you gave reality to events and experiences. But as soon as there is some like or dislike, you have drawn a screen. Questioner: would you say that reality expresses itself in action rather than in knowledge, or is it a feeling of sorts? Maharaj: neither action nor feeling nor thought express reality. There is no such thing as an expression of reality. You are introducing a duality where there is none. Only reality is. There is nothing else. The three states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping are not me, and I am not in them. When I die, the world will say, "Oh, Maharaj is dead." But to me, these are words without content. They have no meaning. When the worship is done before the image of the Guru, all takes place as if he wakes and bathes and sleeps and eats and rests, goes for a stroll and returns, blesses all and goes to sleep. All is attended to in the minutest detail, and yet there is a sense of unreality about it. So is the case with me. All happens as it needs, yet nothing happens. I do what seems to be necessary, but at the same time I know that nothing is necessary, that life itself is only make-believe. Question: why then live at all? Why all this unnecessary coming and going, waking and sleeping, eating and digesting? Maharaj: nothing is done by me. Everything just happens. I do not expect, I do not plan, I just watch events happening, knowing them to be unreal. Questioner: were you always like this from the first moment of enlightenment? Maharaj: the three states rotate as usual. There is waking and sleeping and waking again, but they do not happen to me. They just happen. To me, nothing ever happens. There is something changeless, motionless, immovable, rock-like, unassailable, a solid mass of pure being consciousness bliss. I am never out of it. Nothing can take me out of it. No torture, no calamity. Questioner: yet you are conscious. Maharaj: yes and no. There is peace, deep, immense, unshakable. Events are registered in memory, but are of no importance. I am hardly aware of them. Questioner: if I understand you correctly, this state did not come by cultivation. Maharaj: there was no coming. It was so, always. There was discovery, and it was sudden. Just as at birth you discover the world suddenly, as suddenly I discovered my real being. Questioner: was it clouded over and your sadhana dissolved the mist? When your true state became clear to you, did it remain clear or did it get obscured again? Is your condition permanent or intermittent? Maharaj: absolutely steady. Whatever I may do, it stays like a rock, motionless. Once you have awakened into reality, you stay in it. A child does not return to the womb. It is a simple state, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. It is self-evident and yet beyond description. Questioner: is there a way to it? Maharaj: everything can become a way, provided you are interested. Just puzzling over my words and trying to grasp their full meaning is a sadhana quite sufficient for breaking down the wall. Nothing troubles me. I offer no resistance to trouble, therefore it does not stay with me. On your side, there is so much trouble. On mine, there is no trouble at all. Come to my side. You are trouble-prone. I am immune. Anything may happen. What is needed is sincere interest. Earnestness does it. Questioner: can I do it? Maharaj: of course. You are quite capable of crossing over. Only be sincere. And that's the end of the chapter.
Wonderful, wonderful chapter.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll end here today. Om Tat Sat. Any final thoughts from anybody? Aditi, will we see you on Saturday?
Most likely, yes.